Well, hello everybody. It is 7:30 on Wednesday night, and like I said in my previews for this, that we're going to be starting something new. It's called 15 Minutes with God. So basically, I'm going to have a timer, and I'm going to time myself, and we're going to go through some stuff. We're starting with Revelations tonight. Actually starting the book of Revelations, and going to give out some information. So as I said, we'll have one at 7:30 to about 7:45. And then I got another one that starts at 8 o'clock, and we'll just continue like that and make shorter videos. If you happen to see one video and miss the other one, it's all archived on YouTube, so you guys can go back and watch the other ones all the time, or if you miss something or you want to write something down or whatever it may be. So, without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. So, the book of Revelations, okay? Revelation of Jesus Christ to John the Apostle. So basically, sorry, I had to put my glasses on. So, starting off, part one. John is the last remaining apostle of Jesus Christ. Okay, so of all the apostles, John was the only one that was believed to be not martyred for his Christian faith. He was exiled to Patmos, which I'll get into here in a little bit, under Roman control, where he received the revelation of Jesus Christ. I find that part just, quite frankly, kind of amazing, in that we don't know why John was not executed. He was the only one of them that wasn't executed, but besides the apostles, there was thousands of Christians in that time that were executed for their beliefs, but not John for some reason. So, I believe that God protected John so that when he was old and close to the end of his life, he could be given this revelation. Kind of like the last man standing type of thing. All right. So, moving on. Okay, who was John? Do we really know who John was? That's something that we're going to be talking about. So, let's go into a little bit of background about John and who he was. So, John was born in Bethsaida. His parents were Zebedee and Salome. He was a Galilean fisherman, and he was along with Peter and Andrew. They were friends, kind of fished together and did stuff together on the fishing boats. And he was also a well-connected early disciple of John the Baptist. So that's some things that I did not know. So he was also one of the inner circle. Okay, he's the inner circle of Jesus Christ. He was a pretty important guy. I mean, if you think about it, some of the things that he did. He was there for the Transfiguration. He was also there for the raising of Jairus' daughter. He was in the Garden of Gethsemane when Jesus was taken. He was assigned to take care of Mary, Jesus' mom, after he died, after Jesus was crucified. And so, you think about it, he was pretty important, because if you were dying and you knew you were going to die, who would you trust to take care of your mother, your wife, your daughter, or whoever? I mean, it would have to be somebody that you knew very, very well, right? Okay, so Patmos. This is where John was at. So Patmos is an island. It's about 6 miles by 10 miles wide. It's approximately 24 miles off the coast of Turkey. So 24 miles out in the middle of the ocean where this place was. All right. John was exiled there by Domitian. I believe that's how you say it, around 81 to 96 AD. Domitian was the brother of Titus, who destroyed Jerusalem in the attack around 70 AD. So, this is all according to Irenaeus. Irenaeus was a 2nd century Roman historian. He also wrote that when Domitian died, John was released and went to Ephesus. Okay, this is all reported in the historical books of Irenaeus. He appointed leaders there of the church and got the church in order. And this part was also confirmed by Clement and Eusebius, who were also historians of that time. So, Book of Revelations, right? It's the basically the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signed it by his angels unto his servant John, who bore record of the world. So, of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and all things that he saw. So that was Revelations 1 and 2. All right, so basically there's lots of meanings in there, but we'll go over that here in a little bit. But you will find that in the book of Revelations, it's a book of codes. There's a lot of codes. Also, the main story that's in there about Revelation and what it is, what it means throughout the whole book. But the book of codes is another thing that it is. When you go through it and you study it, you'll find that to really understand the depth of Revelation, you have to use pretty much every other book in the Bible as a reference. I mean, pretty much. In the Old Testament, there are over 1,845 references to Jesus' ruling the earth after the second coming. Okay, 17 of the Old Testament books give prominence to this event. And in the New Testament, there are 23 of the 27 books that mention something about the second coming of Christ. Okay, that's 318 references out of 216 chapters. So basically, for every one prophecy about Jesus' first coming, there are 8 about his second coming. So can anyone say that knowing Revelation is not important? I mean, it's in the Bible. There's all these references to it. There's all these chapters about it. There's so much about his second coming. I don't see how you can think that this is not something that's kind of important. So let's look at the spiritual nature, okay? If people had doubts about this, okay? If any of you have doubts that the Bible is not breathed into existence by God, then there's some things you need to think about, okay? So here's some of the discoveries, all right? Basically, the Bible is 66 separate books by more than 40 authors, penned over a period of several thousand years from different parts of the world. And when we talk about different parts of the world, it's not like nowadays where you can get on the phone or you can just fly around the world or whatever from place to place. There's a lot of traveling involved to see other people in other parts of the world. Okay, so it also has a very integral message system that's in this book. There's no way that a mere mortal man or man could have done all this. I mean, it's impossible. So it's not just a story. Although the book of Revelation is a type of story, it's so much more. So basically, here, it talks about the blessing. Okay? You're blessed. Okay? Besides the story of things to come, it's also a book of codes that... Yeah, it's also a book of codes of thousands of years older. Plus, John wrote about things that we see nowadays that he never could have known about. He prophesies things to come that we have seen come to pass and things that are happening today. So I don't think you should make any mistake that the book is real. It's evidentiary. It's a history book, and everything in it is going to happen or is happening. Can we brush these things aside as coincidences? Well, yeah, of course we can. We can brush anything aside as coincidences, but there's so many. What if they're not? I mean, you really need to think about that. So something about this, this is, I believe this is the only book that's in the Bible that promises a blessing for knowing it. Okay, so Revelations 1:3 says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." Okay, so basically it's saying if you know this and you read this and you understand this, or if you are told this and you believe in this, you're going to be blessed. All right, so when we talk about different codes and stuff, okay, the sevens. What does seven signify in Bible prophecy? I mean, some people may know this, some may not, but the number 7, it means completion, right? So in the book of Revelations, there's a lot of sevens it talks about as far as, the sevens in the book. Okay, so you got the 7 churches, 7 seals, you've got 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, lampstands, There's just so many different things that we could go over in this. There's like 7 different spirits, the 7 stars, lamps, 7 title pairs, 7 promises to the overcomers, horns, eyes on one of the beasts, angels, thunders, 7,000 different things that went on. I believe there were 7,000 people that were killed in an earthquake. There's creatures with 7 heads, 7 crowns, plagues, mountains, 7 kings. And then you get into the 7 beatitudes, which is basically blessings. So you've got blessed is he that readeth and that hear and keep those things. That's 1. You got blessed are the dead who die in the Lord, which is 2. You've got blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments. Blessed are they who are called into the marriage supper of the Lamb. So that's another one. And you got blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. And you got blessed is he that keepeth the words of the prophecy of this book. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 more. Blessed are they that wash their robes. So there's quite a few blessings there. All right. So being of completion. All right. So here's some more 7s that's in Revelations. You got 7 years of judgment, 7 I ams of Christ, 7 doxologies in heaven. You've got 7 new things. There's just so much, and why not? I mean, why shouldn't there be? Because Revelations is the completion of God's plan, right? It started in Genesis, and the completion of His plan is actually in Revelations. So why wouldn't the last book and the completion of God's plan have a lot of 7 symbols that symbolize completion? So can you really think about it, and do you really believe that John did all this on purpose? I mean, do you think that when he wrote this, if he was making it up, that he'd be able to put all these 7s in there and it just happened to all fit? I don't understand how. So another thing about Revelations is creation versus redemption. So you got paradise lost in the creation story in Genesis, and then it's regained in Revelations. So as you may or may not know, the story of paradise lost and regained is throughout the whole book of the Bible. And everything else in between is a story or history of how this happened. Yeah, I mean, it basically takes you from one end to the other. So let's look at some different things that are paradoxes in Genesis versus Revelation. So you've got the earth created, that's in Revelations. The earth passed away, earth created in Genesis, earth passed away in Revelations. You've got the sun and moon and stars that were created in Genesis, and then Revelations, you've got those going out. You got the earth's government, earth's judgment in Revelations, sun to govern the day in Genesis, no need of the sun in Revelations because it talks about God is the light of the world. Darkness is called night. In Revelations, there is no darkness. Waters he called seas, and there's no more seas in Revelation. A river for the earth's blessing, a river for new earth, man in God's image, and in Revelations you have man headed by Satan's image because Satan rules the world, right? In the world. And then you got the entrance of sin in Genesis and the end of sin in Revelations. You got curses pronounced and no more curses in Revelations. You've also got death entered. There's no more death in Revelations. You got the first cherubims that were mentioned in Genesis. You got cherubim's final mention in Revelations. Man is driven out of Eden, and basically in Revelations, Eden is restored with man, right? So you got the tree of life guarded, and then you got the access to tree of life. You got sorrow and suffering. You got no more sorrow. You got religion, art, and science. You got separated from God. You got judges destroyed. Nimrod's found Babylon, and then Nimrod founds Babylon, and then it falls in Revelations. You got God's flood that destroys evil, and then in Revelation you got Satan's flood to destroy the elect generation, right? He comes in, he tries to destroy an elect generation. In Genesis you got the rainbow, which is God's promise, and in the Revelations you have the rainbow for remembrance. Sodom and Egypt, you got corruption, you got judgment, and then Sodom and Egypt is the New Jerusalem area in Revelations. So as you can see, there's just so many of them. I mean, I could keep on going and keep on going with Abraham's seed, a bride for Abraham's son, a bride for Abraham's seed, marriage of Adam, and then marriage of the last Adam. The first Adam would be Adam, and then the last Adam, of course, is Jesus and his marriage to the church and the people. Promised seed, possess the gates of the enemy, promised seed possessing. There's just so many of them. So I would say here, if you got any questions or comments or anything like that, that you could just lay them out for me. But as of right now, we're still having, I think, some issues with people talking on here. I'm not even sure why. I can send something and see if it actually works. I've got about 16 seconds left here. But basically, what we're going to see is, this continue. We're going to continue from here, and hopefully here at 8 o'clock I will have another part of it. So we will see you then.